Well, Paul, you've had thick end of a fortnight and two matches now. How, in your own mind, are you getting to grips with the strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, it's about 15 days and counting. And that's your phone. That's your phone. Yeah, I've learnt loads. There's still loads to learn. I know that, but every training session that's gone by, and the two games, I've learned. I was just saying there, I've had some, real highs and real lows already in 2 weeks. So had the highs of seeing us hit the back of the net against Oxford with a great goal. Then had the low of them conceding a poor goal, and then obviously the disappointment of the FA Cup. We hold on. It's sort of at loggerheads for 83 minutes and we concede and not enough time to recover. But on a positive note, of course, when I come in, I said to you my biggest worry was the goals against Column and conceding goals. I think it was 13 in 4 games. I have to be pleased with 2 in 2 against. So. That's a big plus for me. We need to continue with that, but also try and get a balance in the team where we've got enough cutting edge to go and score some goals as well.
Has the hurt, if I can call it that, of the Dover result come out this week through everybody?
Well, me personally, I had to handle it quickly. All right, that's what you have to do as a manager. You've got to react. Okay, you've got to dust yourself down and get on with it because you're the leader. And we was in the next day. When we come in after the game, the players, the normal one, the head's looking at the floor, but there's nothing on the floor. I told them straight, nothing on the floor for you. So get your head up and see you tomorrow, and we'll have an open discussion and be honest. They now know where they stand with me in terms of what I expect. Okay, so it's been positive. Today I've got a bit of fire in my belly because that's coming out of me now. Okay, so I've had to be the one. Lifting the players and all the rest of it, that's my job. But today now I know exactly what I'm looking for. More importantly, the players do. So I want to get a team on the pitch that the Cheltenham people are proud of. Right, that's what I've always tried to do. When I've had good times, it's been with really good people in the club, and we've got a lot of great people at this club. What I want within the squad is every one of them a good person and caring for the football club.
In terms of the fact the window is closed, is everybody almost on a trial until the 1st of Jan if they want to be in your plans going further forward because the window is shut and you're working with the squad that's already here?
1,000,000%, because you're on trial every day. There's no doubt about it as a player. The old saying, as a team, don't look any further ahead than the next game, and when you win one, you keep the momentum and you work harder. Well, as an individual, that's what I always thought about as a player. I know how I had a long career. I know I had it. It's from every day, being ready, being at it. Whether bad times, good times, you're a professional, and I want to put a professional element in the club. I've got high standards. I've just had a meeting with the staff. They realise now, because I've not even had a chance to have a proper meeting with the staff. They know now what I expect. So I expect leaders in the staff. It can't just be me. Picking the players up on things. They've got to lead, all of them. And they know that, and they want that. And that's what we need at this club. Cheltenham needs to work in a certain way, right? And I've done this. I've said that people have alluded to it being similar to Torquay. It is, and I've got a clear vision of how I want the club. Of course, yes, we're working with a small squad until January, and even in January, it'll have to be the right players coming in. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is get it right here, get the work ethic at the training ground. Get the right spirit. I'm trying to build the team spirit. I'm trying to, see which ones are the players that are energisers and energy sappers, which I've told them, and there'll be no time for the latter, or space at the club for the latter.
How heavily are you leaning on Rob in terms of knowledge of League Two? Having been at Tranmere early part of the season, he will have seen more teams, I would think, than you would have done.
Yeah, definitely. I'm leaning on Rob in a lot of ways, just like with Steve and the staff. And I said I'm very happy with the staff. But they know now everyone's got to add value. And for me, success comes from what you do week to week on the training field and the mentality of the players, and that there's no outs for the players. Players can be great one for like trying to find a weakness in the club and whether it's a treatment room or with the reserves or whatever. It can't happen here. It has to be a professional environment, okay, high standards, good habits on the training field, and then you take that into the games. So it's about this. Of course, the weekend is important. Tactically, we'll be ready. We knew what was coming against Oxford. We knew what was coming against Dover. And, we'll always be okay with us concerned. If there's enough knowledge with Steve, with Rob, myself, to do that. What we've got to do is get the players right. I said against Oxford, 3 were cramp. It can't happen. The gimmies are fit mentally, ready, okay, because there's enough things going to go against you in games, okay, but we've got to have a togetherness, and that comes from the training ground.
What's your take on Asa Hall's fitness at the moment?
I've never seen Asa Hall. I mean, Achilles injuries are horrible, they're not nice, but even Asa knows where I'm coming from, because every day I say to him, training today, Asa? Soon. But he's injured, alright, and I don't want to be too harsh on injuries. But, I'm trying to get to a stage at the club where injuries are concerned, and Wezzo knows. If it's like that, right, between am I fit, aren't I fit, I want him to walk onto the training field, not to the treatment room. And I'm not saying that with Asa, it's a mentality that I want to create at the club. So we're desperate to have Asa back, and if you've got 2 or 3 or 4 in the treatment room, it's money. It's costing the club money, and your whole preparation is built around keeping the players fit. All right. So if the players are physically fit, they're going to be less susceptible to injury in terms of muscle injuries and stuff. Of course, they're going to get impact injuries, because it's a physical game and a contact sport. But their physical shape is important. Okay, we've got a fitness coach here, leaning heavily on him, and then our training sessions are geared into the weekends, but also they're at match tempo, which at times the players have found quite hard. All right, we did a running session on Tuesday, and because I'm having to gauge where they are mentally, physically, tactically, technically, the whole thing. I'm having to gauge, as quick as I can to give us a chance of picking points up, and there's no doubt about it that we've got to up the ante.
What's Rob said to you about Mansfield, or what have you gleaned about Mansfield ahead of Saturday?
Well, Mansfield had a good result at Cambridge, all right, and so we've got our reports. I've got my ways of working with teams, and that is important as you go nearer to Friday. But I'm a great believer in getting ourselves right. Okay, it's about what we do at Cheltenham. It's about how we set up, and about how we can cause problems, okay, for other teams, and we didn't cause enough problems for Dover. We didn't get at them enough, and like I say, I've got to get that balance between us, not leaking goals like we were, and also having enough going the other way.
Stevie Elliott, I think the phrase you used last week was, I don't think he'll make it for the Dover game. How close might he be for Saturday?
I don't think so. No. I think Steve's... No. I mean, we just had that chat about Steve in terms of... I actually thought he was 34. He's 37. And I said, how do we get, Stevie Elliott to the very best he can be this season, physically? What's our plan around it? Is it to leave him resting all the time? Is it to get him working harder? What is it? It's just got to be a plan for every player. Our young development players now, working them. The club wants young players to come through. I want that. But we've got to get them ready. It starts with Russ, the youth team. It comes through, and we need to start now and getting away and an identity of who we are and what we are. So that's what we're working on. Whether it's Stevie at the top end of his career, or the young guns down in the youth.
Just lastly for me, in terms of getting you some impetus, would a result make all the difference, or is it the performance you're looking for more than the points?
Well, we've had a result. Like I say, when you come into a football club, you either take something over that's top of the league and flying, and doesn't need a lot of care, or you take something over that's let 14 goals in, or 13 in 4 games. Well, I took over the latter, so priority was stopping the rot, and we did that against Oxford. I know our keeper had to keep us in it at the end. I'm not kidding myself, but we stopped it, and then we only conceded 1 against Dover. That was success. Now we've got to build on that. All right, we've got to build on. The game's about keeping clean sheets, trying to score more than the opposition. That's what we've got to try and get to, and I'm not going to be able to do it overnight. Okay, so as I said at the weekend, if we'd have won against Dover, all right, it still would have been papering over cracks, because you can't go from where we've been to being brilliant. It's not going to happen. It's trying to prioritise, stop the goals going in, and on the back of that, trying to win games. We got a draw against Oxford in the league. Now we're looking to try and move that on and get a win in the league, and that's how I'm looking at things.
Great, thank you.
In a funny way, did you learn more about the mental state of the players from the defeat on Saturday and their reaction since than you would have done from a win?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. If we'd have won, would have all gone away happy. I'd have built on that momentum, of course. That would have probably, maybe more ambitious with things, and but it's a reality check, and we're back to the league, which is important. So I look back now, we got a draw, and stop that losing run. But yeah, I learnt loads. I learnt loads about how a team can look good in training and bright, and then come to a game and probably freeze up a little bit at times. So I've learnt an awful lot. I'm a positive person, which I hope you've seen. That's how I've managed to win games and do good things, and I'm going to bring all those things here. That's what I want here, but it's about making the players believe it. It's about those players, as you rightly said, they've got an opportunity now. They have an opportunity between now and January, because that's when I can improve the squad, and looking towards the end of the season, because there's a lot of people out of contract in the summer. And once a long ago I was a player, when you're out of contract you've got to do something about it. We've all got families, they've got families and stuff, and if, with all due respect, if you haven't done it at Cheltenham, and you've not really been, and us managers do speak, what's next for you? So they've got a golden opportunity here to go and wear the badge with pride, come and do things right here, because they're not going to get any outs. I can guarantee I'd rather work with 11 than have 20, and 9 sort of not quite at it and doing what they want to do. It's not happening. So they've got a golden opportunity now to come into a professional environment, do things right, and good things will happen for Cheltenham and them and their families.
Is there a temptation to make some changes, to bring in some of the younger lads, or are they maybe just not ready for...
Yeah, there's a temptation. Yeah, second very good question. Of course there is. I'd be doing the other boys a disservice if you, as a player, not involved at the weekend. Okay, and I chose to keep the same team, right? Because, like I said, they put a shift in against Oxford, and you've got to be careful not to pull things apart. And you've got to be careful, and I've got to give the players a chance. But at the moment, the way things are and the way things have been, I've said I'll give everyone a go. So there will be players now that see that, and rightly so. It's up to them to perform in training. It's up to them, whether they're a younger player, to step up against the older player, all right, and not be kept down or whatever, and get beyond him and say, yeah, I want to play. Because training, I go a lot on training, and I go a lot on how they do out there. But you're right, I'm tempted, and rightly so, because it wasn't good enough at the weekend. And but it's down to the players to show me that they're good enough to play in League Two, because League Two is unforgiving. It's if you're a younger player, you've got to be physically ready, all right. And if you're a winger, we've got some real pacey young players here, Amari and Zach and Andy. I know their names already. They're looking good. They're easy on the eye and they're great, and I like that type of player. But they've got to get back in and defend and do the other side. So I am tempted, but they've got to show me they can do both sides of it.
You go to Mansfield, a team in a pretty similar situation, just changed the manager at 1 point and 1 place below you in the league. They'll be changing as well. Is it a chance to sort of try and steal a march?
It's a chance to win the game. You take your point with all of those things. I haven't looked at none of that. I'm just going to focus on us, and us improving on all the things I've spoken about. There's so much room for improvement here. The players have got to improve. There's no doubt about it. They've got to improve everything, every aspect. Because we're 18th in the league. Last season, similar. I don't know the league, similar. The same now. We've got to change. Things have got to change. And if it is the young ones coming in at some stage, they've got to be ready. But it's a huge game for us. It's a huge game for them. But I want to try and get us confident. I'm trying to say I want a confident team. They're not confident. They didn't look confident. We've got to get that confidence. What have they got to fear? They're professional football players. They've got a great living. It's a great club. It's a great place to live, and they've got to start realising that and get on with it. You know, and that's what the message has been this week. So I think this week they've had a real piece of me and what I'm about. And like I say, it will be a good place to be. And if you don't want to be part of that ongoing, I ain't got a problem with that, because we'll have a queue here of players that will want to join us.
It's only 15 days in. How much are you enjoying being back at the coalface?
Absolutely loving it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Because I'm in a club, and the warm welcome that I received, the feeling about the place, the whole thing I love. The training ground, there's so much going for Cheltenham Town Football Club. We have so much going for us, and I don't want the players feeling sorry for themselves and all that nonsense. I feel better than I've ever felt. I feel more up for the challenge than I've ever felt, because I'm working with good people. I'm working with really good people, and that gives me great hope that we can take the club forward. All I want to do is take us forward this year, get us forward, and then improve, keep improving, keep looking at things at the club and improve. And I've been so impressed with all the young players, you know, Russ is doing with the kids, okay, and Jamie, and I've brought them closer in with what we're doing, and just bring this whole thing together. You know, we've had people come up to the training ground, which I like, and obviously yourselves in that. And I want to get an environment that we all look forward to coming into, and then good things will happen for us on the pitch.